Welcome to episode 127 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. I am your host, Devin AT. You can find me over at KnittyMcPurly.com. I am Knitty McPurly on Instagram, and if you want to email me, I am Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. Let me just get the lipstick off my cup. How often does this happen to you? A question asked while I am counting stitches will be answered with louder counting. This is like a daily occurrence at my house. Thanks, Eileen. Eileen gave me this mug. Hi, Eileen. I'm a day early because tomorrow, Sunday, is Mother's Day, and it is my youngest daughter's first Holy Communion. So it's going to be a big day tomorrow. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to have time to do the podcast. So I am a day early. I was planning to take the last week off, but I didn't, of course. I took like a day off. But yeah, anyway, I didn't. It's all fine. I'm a righty, so this mug is designed for me to be able to see it, but I'll hold it like that so you guys can see it. I am wearing my Diggory tee today. I'm wearing it with some sweatpants because Gigi and I went out and took pictures of it today. Isn't it so cute? I just love it. I love the way it fits. I love everything about it. But I really want to work on this pattern and it needs to have more options. So I was like, Gigi, let's go get pictures of this as it is now because I'm going to add stuff to it and that's going to make it look different. So I want to have pictures of it in all of its different iterations. This is the Freetown fingering weight yarn, which is organic, single ply, special, soft, delicate yarn, not for socks. And this is in the Bosque colorway. And I just love how variegated it is. It's not variegated, I guess tonal would be the right word, but it's just not a flat color. And I love that. Okay, progress and shop news. So lots of you pre-ordered Dubrovnik DK over the past couple of weeks, and I had a slowdown with the mill that I explained in my last podcast. And those orders will ship by Friday. So I'm very, very happy about that. I've got a new shipment that has already arrived, gigantic boxes, tons and tons of skeins, so that I will not run out again because I do not want to run out anymore. So the shop is going to be fully restocked with DK coming up soon. If you want to go pre-order that, you can still get 20% off the Dubrovnik DK, as well as the Faucette and the We Faucette patterns with the code FaucetteAlong2023. My allergies are killing me. My nose is just like it itches so much. I take Claritin every single day. You would think that maybe it would be enough, but alas, it is not. So anyway, you can still join in the Faucette Knit Along. If you have not even started knitting, you have time because it has been extended through the end of June. So you've got like 7 more weeks at this point. It took me 2 weeks to knit mine, and that is as a person who does not have a lot of spare time. So you can do it. It's a quick knit and it's super fun. I talk about this every time. There's different colors, the texture's changing, the colors are changing. It's such a fun knit. So you can still join in on that if you want. Also, the Vesper pattern is out and available for free. Some of you have been messaging me telling me, oh, this newsletter or this blog or this podcast mentioned your sweater, which is so nice because otherwise I would never know. I'm kind of out there, but anyway, that is a great summer, spring, fall sweater. It is not super hot. It's striped between a fingering weight and a lace weight, and it's just a really great pattern, and I hope you love it. And like I said, it is free. Okay, I also have May's color. Okay, so May's color of the month is a bougie background with, bougie background, and it has splashes of Thistle and Fantine and Poirot speckles. I think it looks best like that. I showed this last week and then a bunch of you ordered this combo. Like, isn't it so pretty? It's just so pretty. I love it. So that is available now. I have some fingering weight that I have dyed up in those colors. So even if it says pre-order, I have them and they can ship out pretty quickly. But even if it's a pre-order, it will still ship out within a week. It won't take me very long. And that is available. This color of the month is available in Frankfurt Fingering and Dubrovnik DK. So anyway, after I am done dyeing all of the DK yarn that you guys ordered and shipping all that out, I'm going to be focused on the Diggory tee. I also have the gilded sweater. That test knit is going on now. I've been talking about that a little bit in the podcast. I think that test knit ends on the 19th, and that pattern has been just smooth sailing. So I expect for that to be released on that day or the next day. We'll see. But then I'm going to go working on the Diggory tee. I have to finish writing the pattern and incorporate all of the add-ons that I want to do. So what are you talking about, Devin, when you talk about add-ons? I want to have 2 different options for finishing this seam because this is a bottom-up sweater and you're left with live stitches here, and you can either Kitchener them or 3-needle bind off. There's a couple different options. For example, here I have Kitchenered these, and my Kitchener skills are, you know, they're not amazing. But it looks pretty good. It looks pretty seamless, but it would look cool to have an exposed seam look there too. And I'd like to show options for that. Also, some of you have mentioned that you're not a big fan of your upper arms. I am not either. I get it. I don't like to be uncomfortable though. So I'm going to have a slim, probably like elbow sleeve. See, stop looking at my arm fat. It's not jiggling. I'm going to have a slim sleeve that goes to about here, knit out of a lace weight. I think I'm going to do the same color. I think I'm going to do the Bosque in probably a Surrey silk stockinette that just ends right about here. And I also want to have an optional curved hem in the front and in the back, because I think that would look really cool too. I'm a big fan of the half tuck, but if you wanted to have it untucked, I think it'd be cool. And I want to do that also in the lace weight yarn. I think that's just a really cool add-on. I want to say this takes like 2 skeins. Like, it depends on your size, obviously, but I feel like I just used a little more than 1 skein for the second size. I don't have all the details of the measurements and whatnot worked out yet, but a t-shirt works up in just not a lot of yarn, which is nice. So anyway, those are the add-ons that I'm thinking about right now. The options for the bind off here, and a way to add sleeves and a little bit of an interesting hem. Something that would be cool, and I may not do this, it's just kind of floating around in my mind right now, is to have an optional applique detail. I'm thinking some kind of a ruffle that you would add on later if you wanted, probably out of that Surrey silk. That would be kind of amazing. Or like a pleated, I don't know, maybe. We'll see. I could even add that later. We'll see. I'm not sure. But anyway, Gigi and I went out and we photographed this today so that I could add on those additions. One more thing that I want to talk about before I get to the topic of the week is advent calendars. I have noticed that lots of dyers, people are putting their advent calendars out earlier and earlier and earlier. And I did that last year too. I think I put them out in like April, because everybody wants to get the jump on everybody else, right? Like, they want to be the first advent calendar that you see. So, oh, we've already bought an advent calendar. And then when someone else brings theirs out in August, you're like, well, I have an advent calendar. So I kind of tried that last year. I tried a couple different things with the advent calendar. This year, I have decided that I'm going to do less than I did last year, because that was an insane number. Probably going to cut that about in half. And I am going to put mine on sale, up for sale in July or August, probably August. We're going to do 25 10-gram minis. And it's going to come with a mystery knit along. So I noticed last year also, people were confident in buying several advent calendars. And there are all different price points out there. Some of them are like $300. And if that is your thing, and it comes with more yarn, but not many of them come with a mystery knit along. So mine is a reasonable price. It's $125 plus shipping, and it comes with a mystery knit along. Now this year, we are going to be making ornaments, not balls, not like the Christmas balls, but little kind of stuffed toys that you can put a thread on and hang on the Christmas tree. Probably 7 or 8 ornaments. I'm not exactly sure how many I'm going to be able to get out of that, but that is my plan for the Advent calendar. If you want to jump in, we'll probably do traditional slash modern Christmas colors. I don't like the ugly Christmas colors, you know, kind of like the dark red and the dark green and the gold. I mean, those are fine, but I like to mix them with some hot pink and some candy pink and some candy green. You know, I like that type of thing. So that is the plan for the Advent calendar if you're interested in that. Okay, topic of the week. So I wanted to talk to you about knitting socks because I am knitting this pair of socks for Gigi, and I got a little bit further. I showed these last week. This is a yarn set called Red Wall by Holly over at Mystery Mouse. And this is how far I got in the first sock. And I also mentioned last time that I'm going to be having sock rulers in my shop. And so I did a little video showing how to use the sock ruler, and I'm going to be putting this video up by itself, and you know, it will accompany the ruler. Like if you buy the ruler, it will come with a link to the video so that you can see how you use it. But anyway, I thought I would include that here. And I show, this is funny. So I thought to show how to use the sock ruler, it would be nice if I had a cuff down sock and a toe up sock, but I'm not really a toe up sock knitter. I've done them before, but it's been a long time. So I just winged it, and I ended up with this very trapezoidal toe. It's just very angular. So I probably will rip this out and just knit the other sock cuff down in the way that I like. But anyway, here is the video on the sock ruler. Here is the Knitty McPurly sock ruler. And as you can see, it has a needle gauge going all the way from US 15 down to US 0. It gives the US size and the millimeter size, and even has holes for measuring needles that don't have a US size, but it just gives the millimeter size. For example, like so there is no US 12, but that would be 8.5 millimeters. This is a 12-inch ruler measuring from the very bottom up to the top right here. And one of the most interesting parts about this sock ruler is that it has all of these different shoe sizes. So we have US women's, US men's, EU and UK shoe sizes. Now, if a person were to stand with their heel up against this round part, their shoe size would come out to, for example, I'm a women's 10.5. So my big toe is going to hit somewhere in that box. It's a box instead of a line because there's a little bit of wiggle room in the sizes across different brands. But my big toe hits at about 10.5 inches, between 10.5 and 10 5/8, probably closer to 10.5. So that is going to be my shoe size. So if you know someone's shoe size in any of these forms, then you can figure out how big their foot is. Like if you're trying to knit socks for somebody who is not at your house, you can say, hey, what's your shoe size? Oh, you're men's 1.5. Okay, well, this is where your foot is going to land. So this is really handy because you can knit socks for people who are not at your house. Or if you don't want them to know that you're knitting them socks, you can just say, hey, what's your shoe size? That's not weird at all. Okay, so you can use these for either toe up or top down socks. I typically knit mine cuff down, but I knit this toe. It's a little pointy. I'll probably rip it out later, but whatever. You get the idea. So let's say you're knitting your socks toe up. You put the rounded end into the toe, and then you can see how much more you need to knit. So for example, let's say I'm knitting these socks for myself, and I know that my foot is about 10.5 inches. So in order to accommodate the heel, because here I have the toe there, but I have to accommodate the heel, that's about 2 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 10.5 and subtract 2 inches, and I know that I'm going to work the foot of my sock. So I've got a lot more to go here. I need to work until I get to 8.5 inches. And at that point, I'm going to stop knitting. And when you measure, you kind of want to give a little bit of a tug so that the socks have a chance to have some negative ease on the foot and fit nice and tight. So that's how you do toe up socks. But what if you are a cuff down girl like me? So here I have a cuff down sock, and I have knit a heel flap and gusset. So what you would do for these is you put your sock ruler into your sock, and you pull it up to the heel like that. All right. Now you can see I'm a little further on these ones. I really just knit the toe ones to show for this, but this is an actual sock. So for this one, I'm going to just give it a little bit of a tug, and you can see I still have a bit more to go on that foot to make it the right length, because I'm going to want to knit to 8.5 if I were knitting these for me. That is what I would do. Now, you can knit socks for anyone though, and this is possibly my favorite part, where you can do it from their shoe size, but what if this is somebody who you want to knit socks for a lot? So on the back, what I did is I put a piece of painter's tape, and I marked the members of my family who were willing to stand on this and let their feet be measured. Although, in all truth, this is the only one who is knit-worthy. So, this is Gigi's foot size right here. And so, in pencil, and I really probably could have done it either way, in pencil, I have marked 2 inches below that. So, this is her foot size, and this is 2 inches below. So, this is where I'm going to stop knitting, for example, this sock, which does happen to be for Gigi. So I'm going to stick that in there. And you can see for Gigi, I'm really almost there. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a tug so that it will be nice and tight. And I know that I have that much more to knit until I am ready to start my toe. You can also use this if you are a person who wants to add in your heel later. Like if you wanted to knit the whole tube, start at the cuff or the toe, it doesn't really matter. And if you knit the whole tube and then you want to cut in your heel later, I imagine the best way to do that would be to lay it down over the sock like this. And that way you could see through here where you would want to cut in your heel. And you could place a knitting needle and then remove it. And then you could see where to put your heel in. All right, so that is how you use the sock ruler. The sock rulers are not available in the shop yet, but they will be soon, probably, by the beginning of June. So that's really fun. I also wanted to talk to you about this book. It is called The Sock Knitter's Handbook, Expert Advice, Tips and Tricks by Charlene Schurch and Beth Parrott. If you like to knit socks and you want to know all of the things, like literally any possible thing you could possibly want to know in this cool kind of lay flat design book, this is a great book. It has a ton of detail, a ton of pictures, lots of explanation. There are more toes and heels than you ever knew existed. Like, who knew all these things existed? I tend to do kind of the same thing every time. Here's more heels for top-down socks. But it just has tons of instructions. In the back, there are, there's a little bit of a stitch dictionary in there that are, different stitches that are good for socks. But there's also a lot of shoe sizes and repeat guides. It's just a really good tool. that has lots of information in it. So if you're a sock knitter and you don't own this book, I mean, you don't need it. Like if you just want to knit from other people's patterns, go for it. You can absolutely do that. You don't need it. But if you're somebody who wants to know a lot about socks, like let me see if I can find the picture of the different kinds of toes. Here's a bunch of different cuffs. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. Let me see if I can find the toe picture because there are more toes than you knew existed. Oh, and here's like the anatomy of a sock. All of the different names of the parts and how they turn up differently in different types of construction. If I can't find the toe, maybe I'll just put in a picture when I do. Oh, here we go. So here's a couple different toes, but it's just a really cool book. I highly recommend it. On the back here, it says $26.99, but this book's been out for a while. I would buy it used. If I were gonna go buy this book, I would look on ABE Books or eBay or something like that, but it is a great, great tool. All right, our word of the week this week is ruler, because we're talking about the sock ruler. So I think this is a really interesting word. The word ruler is from the Old French roulier, coming from 1200, meaning to control, guide, direct, or make conform to a pattern. From the Latin regulare, to control by rule. From the Latin regula, meaning rule, like a straight piece of wood. From the Proto-Indo-European, the root reg, meaning to move in a straight line, with derivatives meaning to direct in a straight line or to lead or rule. So you can think of a ruler, something that gives you a rule, whether that is a metaphorical rule, like for checking things, or an actual thing that you would like lean your pencil up against to make a straight line. And you can also think of a ruler in this sense, someone who leads, someone who helps the people be guided on the right path. Neat, right? It's interesting, like when we talked about button, you know, you think of the button you push and the button you button, and why are those the same word? Well, because they have the same root and they're derived from the same meaning. Ruler is the same way. Cool. Okay, knitting fantasies. Today, we are going to talk about some dog sweaters. And this totally came up out of nowhere. I was scrolling through Ravelry and I saw this adorable picture and it caught my eye because the dogs were so cute. And I saw that this is a dog sweater by Stephen West. It's called the Dustland, I guess, dog sweater by Stephen West. I think, and probably you know, but I don't know, that he has a pattern out called Dustland and it's a human sweater. And so he made a dog sweater to go along with that. Now, the thing about dog sweaters is if you get on Etsy and you go looking for dog sweaters, you're gonna find all manner of things. And some are good and some are not, and you can't tell sometimes whether they're good or not. But this one by Stephen West is in DK weight yarn, and it comes in 9 sizes, and it's by Stephen West. And I just had a lot of confidence with all of that stuff. I had a lot of confidence in this pattern. So it has a lot of texture. These, I presume, are his 2 dogs. One is named Stitch, and the other is named Brioche. So the smaller white Frenchie is wearing a size 3. Like I said, it comes in 9 sizes. So this is the size 3, and the way you get the size is by measuring the dog's girth, which is the largest part around their chest. So the Frenchie, the little one, the white one, has an 18-inch chest, and that's the size 3. The larger black Frenchie is wearing the size 4, and he/she, I don't know which, has a 22-inch chest. So after I found this, I was like, okay, we got to talk about dog sweaters today. But then I started looking for dog sweaters and I was like, I don't know, you just get a lot of pictures are not good. It doesn't seem like a lot of people have made them, or it's only for one size. Do not charge me for a pattern that is only for one size if it's a sweater. I mean, if it's a single size item, that's fine. But if it's a sweater that needs to fit different sizes, I don't know. Anyway, I found another Stephen West dog sweater. He did one called the Striped Pup Sweater. And this one looks even simpler than the Dustland. It's a striped DK weight, again, sweater, comes in 9 sizes, and it is just so cute. And so then I just started looking at dogs and sweaters and just thinking about how amazingly cute the dogs and the sweaters are, and they just fill me with joy. Dogs need to wear sweaters a lot. All right, okay. There were a lot of comments on last week's podcast. Thank you so much. I feel like more people are watching the podcast now. I don't know, maybe word got out. I don't know, but welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for leaving a comment. Catherine Denny said, an amazing story about God's provision and that he is in all aspects of our lives. Last week, I told the story about the multiplication of the skeins. It was a total loaves and fishes moment. And I had another event like that happen yesterday. I went to the church and I was praying, and I wanted to go to confession, but I knew that I wasn't gonna be able to make it before Mass tomorrow, just because it's very busy. I got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. And so I thought, maybe I'll run into Father. And I walked out the door and there was Father. And I said, hey, Father, do you have 30 seconds to hear my confession? He goes, yep, let's go. And I was like, God looks out for us. Even when it's something small and it's no big deal, God is there and he looks out for us. Denise Pettis says, loved your Dubrovnik DK debacle story. It illustrates how God provides abundantly, more than we need, and he's always in the details of our lives. Isn't it nice to rest in that peace? Amen, sister. Oak and Wool said, I just love having your podcast waiting for me when I get home from church. It's the perfect way to spend an hour on Sunday afternoon. Well, I am so glad, Oak and Wool. Today, you'll either get it on Saturday or you can hold off and watch it on Sunday. Kathy Shemini, I presume, I'm guessing, says, hi, Devin. I admire your dedication to get up early, pray for 30 minutes, and exercise for 30 minutes. I tell myself I should have a routine like that, but when morning comes, it's difficult for me to get out of bed. Working from home since March of 2020 has made it worse. I now get up with only enough time to get dressed and make a pot of tea before logging into work. I ordered the books you mentioned. Once they arrive, I'm going to add them into my morning routine. Maybe once I adapt to that, I'll add exercise, a morning walk while praying the rosary using the Hallow app. I love the Hallow app. It is so good. Thanks for the inspiration. Kathy, that is so great. Last week, I recommended the In Conversation with God series, and it's a big series of books. So get it used if you can, because it's kind of super expensive new. And it is Catholic. So if you are Catholic, you will appreciate it more. If you are a Protestant, it might not be your cup of tea. But again, I recommend it to everyone. But yeah, getting up in the morning, I have found that if I pray for 30 minutes and I exercise for 30 minutes, and I'm planning on doing it like 5 days a week. I've been making it like 4 days a week. Like there's like one day where I'm like, I need sleep more than I need to get up. That God makes time for you. If you make time for God, God makes time for you. Janet Roberson says, hello from St. Louis, Missouri. You should wax your thread with beeswax when sewing by hand. It keeps the thread from tangling up. And someone else mentioned to me when I was sewing up the sleeve on, it's still sitting here from last week, on my daughter's school sweater, someone else said to me, you're using the heavy duty thread. You shouldn't double it over. Just use a single length, not doubled. So both of those tips I should definitely do for the next cuff, which I still haven't done. But anyway, that was a great, great tip. Danielle says, Devin, your customer service is amazing. I've experienced it before and it's great. I've had yarn dyers I've had to continually try to contact over issues, and it would seem like I am bothering them. You are always someone I feel confident purchasing from. Thank you so much, Danielle. That is so nice. I have had that experience too. I remember one time, and this wasn't a yarn dyer, it was a person who wrote sewing patterns. And I got to a part in a sewing pattern and I had no idea what to do. And so I messaged her, and again, it was something like, it was a small piece in the pattern that wasn't there. Like it wasn't one that you cut out. It was just mentioned, oh, you need to cut a piece this many inches by this many. And I said, I don't know where this piece is. Like I've looked and it's not there. And she said, it's in the pattern. And I was like, but where? Like, I can't find it. And it was like several emails before I realized it wasn't a piece in the pattern. It was just something I was told to cut out and I missed it. But she could have just said that. Like, I know people are busy, and when you email them, you're interrupting their life, but it's nice when they get back to you in a way that is helpful. And like I said, oh, and I mentioned last time that sometimes emails get buried, and you super smart computery people were like, oh, we'll just make a filter so that these emails go here and these emails go here. And my husband said the exact same thing. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I don't know how to do that. I'll see if my husband can do it for me, because I just had that happen this morning. Somebody messaged me to tell me that the link for the bobble in the Faucet pattern wasn't working, and I didn't see it like for a week, and I felt so bad. So I do need to get those filters set up so that I can email you back right away. Again, email me again if I missed it, but I will get those filters set up. Okay, there are more comments, and they are wonderful. And I would absolutely love to share all of them because they are so good. Thank you so much for leaving me comments. Hold on. So here's what happened. This week, I have a wonderful story sent to me by a podcast watcher named Ellen. Hi, Ellen. Thanks so much for your story. Ellen says, I think this is a story that a lot of us will be able to relate to. She says, the Christmas before I turned 7, an aunt gave me a child's knitting kit. My mom taught me how to knit, and I remember making a garter stitch headband and things for my dolls. Well, when I was 9, we were in a shop that had Pendleton wool cloth and wool yarn to match. Do you remember this type of thing? Being a kid and just seeing something like that and being like, oh, it's so beautiful, and just wishing, right? She says they had a pattern for a pullover and a cardigan. My mom said that if I made the sweater, she would then get fabric for a matching skirt. Very smart, Mom. Make the sweater first. Very smart. So off I went. I worked on the cardigan over the summer. Unfortunately, to finish it required a crochet button band. I did not crochet, and my mom didn't feel like she could do it. So we took the sweater to my grandma the next time we visited her. She crocheted the band for me. However, when we got it back, my mom wasn't happy with it. She thought the crochet was too tight. She intended on trying to fix it, but somehow never did. I never wore the sweater, and I didn't get the fabric for the skirt. After nearly 50 years, I still have the sweater in spite of the many times that I have moved. Oh man, I feel like a lot of us can relate to a story like that, whether it happened as a kid or if it was a project we undertook as an adult, where what you needed in the moment was an expert and you didn't have one, and it was before YouTube. Do you realize that YouTube has only been around since like 2007? I feel like we're so used to learning absolutely anything we want on YouTube, but it's not even that old. I mean, my youngest daughter was 2 at that point. That's crazy. So if she had had an expert, then this problem could have been solved. Could have gotten the button band crocheted, would have gotten the skirt, would have been a different story. And it made me think about when I was knitting Joji Locatelli's opposite pole sweater. And I've talked about this sweater before, and I just pulled it out. I wanted to show you the construction on this sweater starts with this rectangle in the back. So don't look at the joins. This is like one of my very early knits. But this rectangle right here is the first thing that you knit, and everything else you have to pick up off of that. And you basically, that's the edge, but this is just like short row wedges that go all the way around, and you leave a hole for the sleeves. But as I wanted the sweater, but I was a newer knitter and I was motivated, but I did not have the knowledge. And so I knit the rectangle, and I just looked at that going, I don't get it. This does not make any sense to me. And had I not had an expert in that moment, I would still have a rectangle sitting in my drawer. Of course, now I have this sweater sitting in my drawer, which I don't wear very often because it is really, really warm. It's almost a coat. Like, I really should wear it as a coat. But I went to my local yarn store and I said, I don't get this. This does not make any sense to me. And she was like, oh, here's what you do. You just, you know, you're knitting out from the rectangle, and then sometimes you're gonna knit short rows, and then sometimes you go all the way back, and you're gonna be picking up stitches along that rectangle. And when you get to the sleeves, you're gonna skip over that part, and then you're gonna continue picking up stitches. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was just a moment where I needed an expert, and I had an expert. And Ellen, I really wish your mom or you or your grandma had had an expert in that moment. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you have a knitting story, Anne-Marie sent me more pieces of the newspaper, you guys. They came in the mail. Anne-Marie, thank you so much. I'm going to be sharing those over the next 2 podcasts. But if you have a knitting story, please send it to me. Cute, funny, heartwarming, ridiculous, hilarious. Send it to me. Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com, and that is linked below, as is everything else that I've talked about. All right, thanks for joining me, you guys. See you next week. Bye. Charlotte has been making pom-poms, and she wanted to show them, and also she just woke up.
So my sister Gigi and me a few weeks ago,
Hello.
Here,
there you go.
a few weeks ago, we were making pom-poms, and my sister Gigi, we were going to hang this on my wall, but I think we still are.
It's a little, it's a little tangled.
Don't show it yet.
Okay, let's see if we can untangle it.
But I want to show it.
Oh, go ahead. Show this one. This one's my favorite.
Okay, so first, there's this pom-pom.
This one is mohair. This is some really expensive yarn, actually. But it made an amazing pom-pom.
And then there's this small one.
Let's get a little distance so we can see it a little bit better.
And then there's these.
There's a bundle of them.
I have a few more, but that would take a long time to show you.
Yeah.
I have like a whole bin of them in my room.
Well, that is awesome. Thank you for showing us, Charlotte. Let's say bye.
Actually.
Bye.